Welcome to Awake to Oneness Radio. I am Caroline Chen, your host. The mission of Awake to Oneness Radio is to inspire the world to awaken to the universal truth of oneness. Now, science is teaching us that everything is energy, and that energy is interconnected and interdependent. In essence, that energy is one thing, meaning we're all connected. Now, spirituality and ancient wisdom has been teaching the truth of oneness for eons, but science has even caught up. So my mission is to inspire everybody to awaken to that truth so there could be peace on earth. My show topic today is New Earth is Unity with my dear friend, Pam Gregory from the UK. Hi, Pam.
Yes.
Welcome again to Awake to Oneness Radio.
Thank you, Caroline. Very happy to be here with you.
Thank you. And I'm very honored because I know how busy you are. And for you to make a little time for Awake to Oneness Radio and me, I'm very, very honored. Now, Pam, I've been following you for years. I watch all of your videos, but some of the listeners may not be familiar with who you are. So if you could just give them a brief introduction to who you are, that'll be great.
Okay, so Pam Gregory stumbled into astrology at the age of 22, so I've been involved in this for well over 40 years, been practicing fully for about the last 20, but I've studied all the way through because it's been my passion. So even when I was working crazy hours in other businesses, kind of normal corporate businesses, weekends, evenings, I was studying astrology. So that's really how it's gone. I've got a very busy YouTube channel under pamgregory.com. Pam Gregory Astrology. My website is pamgregory.com. My YouTube channel is Pam Gregory Astrology. I've written 2 books, last one a big bestseller. They're selling very, very well still. I've also got quite a lot of teaching videos. There's a lot on my website, pamgregory.com, and very busy.
Yes.
So
yes, that's an understatement how busy you are. But I mean, actually, the times that we're living in, it kind of calls for the awakened to get into gear, to get busy. So it's all good. It's a good kind of busy.
Yeah, everything's speeded up, and people are feeling that, time moving faster and faster because our whole experience of reality is changing so rapidly.
Very true, especially the last 18 months.
Yeah.
So share with us your experience of the last 18 months.
Well, it depends which level you're looking at. I mean, I know it's been intense in many, many parts of the world. It certainly has in the UK. We had a series of very severe lockdowns, which were very contracting and constraining and quite bizarre, really, versus the life we thought we had before. So at that 3D level, it was a challenge, but on the other hand, it just really gives you an opportunity to turn inwards, to spend more time in meditation, to spend more time alone very often. And that reaps its rewards as well. But it's so interesting because, of course, we're all living on different levels all the time. We're jumping timelines in every moment. But at a higher level, the acceleration in the energy and our subsequent awakening is just blinding. I mean, the speed at which it's going, because I've often said in the videos, I dowse quite a lot with a pendulum. And there was a wonderful book, I've mentioned this in a video, there's a wonderful book a few years ago by a brilliant psychotherapist called Dr. David Hawkins. And he set out, it's very well known in the spiritual community, he set out a scale of consciousness. And love was at 700, and he said the maximum sort of Hertz level for humanity was 1,000, and that represented enlightenment. Well, what I'm getting now with my dowsing, and other people are confirming this with their dowsing, is we've almost quadrupled that maximum level. We're almost 1,000. And for myself and for others who allow me to enter the energy field and dowse for them, it's just going in quantum leaps. So there's such a fork in the road. There's such a divergence between our apparent rubber hitting the road on the 3D level and all the constraints and challenges and all that's going on in particular countries of the world, particularly, at the moment, Australia, France, it's very clear to see. But on another level, we're just flying.
Yes.
And so it all comes down to, where do you put your attention? Where do you put your focus? Do you energize what's collapsing? Or do you really energize this beautiful new earth that we're bringing in? And the more of us that do that, the faster it's going to arrive. Because why would we want to delay that by energizing what's collapsing? I mean, that makes no sense. But it's very easy to get caught up in the drama and the color and, whatever you do, don't watch mainstream media. I stopped doing that about 20 months ago. It's been, I think my frequency doubled. Honestly,
I love, because I watch all your videos. I always hear you say that, and it tickles me. Because do you know when I stopped watching mainstream media?
When?
2001. I stopped watching mainstream media news. I stopped, and it was a direct order from my higher self in September of 2001. So I haven't watched it in 20 years.
Excellent.
I have not watched a minute of mainstream news in over 20 years.
Well, I'm behind you, but your days can be joyful if you're not continually dragged down, because your frequency drops like a stone if you hear any of that stuff.
Yes.
Because it's just so full of fear. So I mean, that's one very simple thing. Just get rid of the television.
At least that part of the television. I enjoy inspirational shows, and I watch YouTube on the television, but that mainstream, and it truly was a direct order from my higher self. Said, and I didn't know, I wasn't awake in 2001, but my higher self said, turn off that news and never turn it back on. And I was like, why? Didn't get an answer, but was obedient. I turned it off and I've never watched it since. It was many years later where I realized, okay, all of the low frequency, and I understood when I was awakened, I realized everything is frequency, and all the news is doing is trying to lower your frequency. So I understood, it took many years later to realize it, but I was obedient. And even though, because I knew it was an inner command, it was coming from my heart and soul. So I was like, okay, I gotta go with it, but yes, I have actually, I've been saying this the last 18 months, I have been in 5D. I've been watching, I see what's going on in the 3D realm, and I've been watching it and sending it love and light, but I have not allowed myself to get caught up in the 3D. And I've just been on a high for the last 18 months, celebrating, knowing the light has already won. The light is going to transform darkness. I don't use the term that we're in a spiritual warfare. I say it is a spiritual chess match. It's a game. And the light has already won. And in March of 2020, again, another strong message from my higher self, humanity's great awakening has begun. Yeah. So once I got that, I was like, okay, let's party. So and it's not that I'm closing my eyes to what's happening in the 3D realm. I see it all. I send it love and light. I do what I can to inspire others, but I don't get into these debates and arguments and different, headbutting. I don't do that. I'll share in love and light. Either it resonates with you or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, I still love you. I still respect you. I just want to send you love and light. I just had a good friend of mine who we both don't wear masks, have never worn masks. I've been on the plane twice, actually 4 times if you count both trips. And that's the only time I ever put on, and it's a healthier, it's made of 100% organic cotton, and it has copper fibers or something, because the copper kills the bacteria. So it's a healthier mask that I bought just for planes. So not in the airport, not in the Uber, but once to get on the plane, I have to have this stupid thing on my face. So I have a couple of friends like that. And one of them, there are a lot of them, they're young, they're in their 30s, and they're like just butting heads against the establishment. And I keep trying, no, 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 no. All you're doing is lowering your frequency when you do that. And even just a few days ago, I had a conversation where she was saying, well, anger is a good thing. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yes, we have to release in a healthy way our anger, but to stay there in that frequency of anger, you're feeding the darkness. You know, lower vibrations feed the darkness. High vibrations feed the light, and we are at that crossroad. It's so clear as day. And choose, you have to choose, what road do you want to be on?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we are headed for unity, and for as long as there's division, we're delaying the unity and a better world for all of us, for every single one of us, no matter what your views, your opinions, what you've done, physically in the last 18, it doesn't matter. That's where we're headed. So every battle, every fight, I'm right, you're wrong, etc., is just going to delay it. So, and it was very interesting. You said you watched the New Moon in Virgo video that I sent out yesterday, and,
yes.
and the astrological symbolism was very clear in that. I was talking about Neptune and Homer, and they are both to do with coming back to oneness. Yes. Coming back to that, that higher place of loving nature, loving loving all, whoever they are, and whatever they've done with their lives and whatever views they have. So I'm seeing that just so clearly now.
And that is so true. Now, I hear you speak of Lynn McTaggart a lot. She was very key. She is the key to my awakening. This was back in 2007. I was watching What the Bleep. Yep. And that's where I discovered Lynn McTaggart. And she said one sentence that was the key to my awakening. The one sentence was, the biggest problem in the world today is the illusion of separateness, separation. And when she said that, something woke up inside of me, knowing, not believing, but knowing that is true. And that simple knowing, not from the mind, intellect, but from the heart and soul. When you know there is nothing but one, and what you do to another person is you're doing it to yourself and you're doing it to God, because we're all God. I love, my favorite quote is Rumi's quote, "You're not a drop in the ocean. You're the entire ocean in a drop. The universe is holographic. We're all, each one of us is all of God in a drop, and we can never be separate from God." So that kind of helped me because of traditional religion. I was sent to Catholic school. We weren't Catholic, but for a good education in the 60s, my parents sent me to Catholic school. We had religion every day. And I was like, at 5 years old, I was thinking, this doesn't resonate. But my parents, especially my father, was very strict. He said, children are to be seen and not heard. So it's like, even though I'm like, what I'm hearing does not resonate at 5, I couldn't say anything. I just like, okay, I gotta wait till I'm grown so I can explore and do my own research. But the one thing with mainstream, and I have respect for all religions, but the main traditional religions tend to put God up here and us down here. And, he's up there judging us, separating us from God. So that was one of the things when I woke to the truth of oneness. I'm not separate from God. Never have been, never will be. Neither are you, and neither is anyone on the planet.
It tends to be sort of reinforced by the Capricorn energy. Pluto and Capricorn, these are vertical top-down structures, whether they're governments or corporations or institutions, or even religions that have a sort of control mechanism, a top-down structure, rules and regulations. This is what you have to do. All of that is coming into its final stages, as it were. And the move to Aquarian energy is grassroots up, bottom up. Everybody equal, not in a sense of suppressing people's individuality. Quite the contrary, you discover more of your authenticity, but how you can come together in a kind of kaleidoscope with others, all be equal, all have mutual respect for all. But we're going to get away from these top-down systems, because we can see what's happened. I mean, it's, it's coming to a boiling point right now, and also a
Yes.
tipping point, which is very
Yes.
exciting. So it's going to be I've said this many times in my videos, so many of the structures that we thought were fundamental in our lives, structural, fundamental in our lives, are going to disappear. Education, legal, medical, political, financial, the whole lot. And
Yes.
so that's going to feel very destabilizing, because things we've known as permanent and, really as anchors almost in our daily lives, they're going to just collapse. They really are.
Yes.
And we are going to create something new that we decide is
Yes.
loving and joyful and compassionate for all. We're going to decide it. So it's going to be a kind of a bit of a lumpy,
Yes.
ride as all that collapses. We're standing in a demolition site.
I was just about to say that, because I've heard you say that many times. Right now, we are living in a demolition site. And I share that because I've heard you say that, and it's true. But you can, because that energy, if you keep your vibration high, you're actually creating a bubble. Where that 3D matrix, and I've been saying on every single video I've done this since the last 18 months, I am solidly in 5D, because it's not a place, it's a vibration, it's a feeling. And I've been on a high for the past 18 months, and I've created this bubble of protection, meaning that 3D matrix can't touch me. It really can't even see me, because in 5D you can see what's going on in 3D, but people in 3D can't see what's going on in 5D. So it's, so it creates this bubble where you can see what's going on, but it doesn't have to touch you. And all you do is keep sending it love and light and sharing your energy to it. But you're absolutely right. People misunderstand oneness. They think, oh, sameness. No, it's the total opposite. It's not sameness. We're all unique, individual, unique sparks of all that is. And that uniqueness, meaning my piece of the puzzle, only I can bring to the puzzle, the whole puzzle. Without my piece, the puzzle's incomplete. So we each have our own uniqueness to bring. So it's like, I can talk to anyone of any religion, of any political, because I'm not political at all, but I can talk to anyone with different viewpoints and not have an argument. Now I've had hours conversations with these people, and we're not debating, we're not fighting, they're sharing their viewpoints, their perspective, I'm sharing mine, in love and light. And at the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, we're hugging, we're loving, and going our separate ways. And maybe I'm still gonna be me, and they're still gonna be them. And it doesn't have to be a bickering, it doesn't have to be right or wrong, because there is no right or wrong. It just is.
And it's so interesting, Carolyn, because I used the term bubble wrap in the video yesterday, that, if you're staying in these high frequency emotions, that acts as bubble wrap, because 3D can't be a frequency match for you. It's all about a frequency match. So as you say, 3D doesn't even see you. You can't, although you can know what's happening out in the kind of 3D world, it can't come to your door very easily, because there's no frequency match. What comes to your door is something magical and beautiful.
Yes.
I know so many people now who are living in this 5D, and the manifesting is just magical.
Yes,
it's happening in minutes, where they just happen to meet the right person who just shows them the right location, who just happens, to know somebody who just happens. And all these synchronicities are sort of the universe's way of sort of giving you the breadcrumbs to get you to whatever you want to manifest, that you've set a very clear intention for.
Yes.
That clear intention focuses thought, and then if we live at that high level, we just magnetize these synchronicities, which get us to the right place with the right people and the right experiences. It's all a frequency match. So it's very simple. It isn't easy necessarily for people, but it's very simple. And once you're there on your eagle's perch, everything is just so crystal clear from that point of view. But we've all had to progress. I mean, I don't think any of us were necessarily born as 5D. We were born into a 3D reality. And that's what our birth chart is. It's for this incarnation. So it's only through our experiences, our knowledge, our learning that we eventually progress to where we are now. But that's why I think we shouldn't ever judge others, because we were there a while back as well. We were in that same place. It's we're on slightly different timelines and trajectories. And then, you know, those people can easily, just as everybody is really, can hop timeline every couple of seconds. As soon as your frequency changes, you change timeline. There are infinite numbers of timelines. And that's why I so often say as well, yes, the 3D reality that you see on the nightly news is a reality. No doubt about it. It's extreme, it's contracted, it's uncomfortable, but it's not the only one. It's not your reality. You choose.
You choose. Exactly. You are the master, sovereign. I've had these t-shirts made up. I am a sovereign, and the sovereign is in big bold letter, sovereign divine being of light, meaning we each are truly creating our reality from our internal choices. That's why it's so good to go in and tap into that spirit within each of us. But yes, and like you said about the judgment, non-judgment is a big part of oneness. I understand that not every soul has decided to awaken in this lifetime. Life is eternal. We have hundreds and thousands of lifetimes, and not every soul's contract is to awaken in this lifetime. So if their choice is to stay with the 3D earth, which 3D earth is still gonna exist, if that is their choice, then you honor that choice for their soul's choice. You know, there's no judgment.
Because if you bicker to try and convince them of your point of view, again, you're just lowering your frequency.
Exactly.
You know, that's not going to get you anywhere. So, you know, I have some people very dear to me, and, you know, they've made different choices in the last few months. And, you know, I felt very anxious about that initially. You know, I just realized quite quickly, I've got to bless them, their choices. It's their journey, not mine. It's their life, not mine.
Exactly.
Move on. But what is exciting, Caroline, I think, certainly in my experience, there are a lot of like-minded people getting together, forming communities, whether it's physically in person, whether it's online. You know, the frequency matches are happening, and they are creating magic, because as soon as you get a group together, look at Lynn McTaggart's work, you know, Power of Eight, etc. You create momentum and you amplify the frequency that you're all generating together. And I mean, she's a queen of this. She's a genius at this. I did some courses with her myself quite a few years ago, and yeah, she's a wonderful lady. So, you know, that's the trick, getting together with people on the same wavelength and amplifying what you want to bring in, whether it's healing or a piece of land or whatever it is. I mean, that's where we're headed. And we are really going to master this thing about energy and frequency. We are going to get it in a much, much bigger way than we've ever got it before.
Yes, very true. And what you're saying is happening. There is this divide happening. And I mentor people, and sometimes they feel very low because their family doesn't listen to them, or their good friends are not listening to them. And I said, it's okay, because again, remember, life is eternal, and you have to allow them their choices. But you're going to gravitate to those people that are your tribe. Now that's what's happening. And tribe is not necessarily going to be our blood family, or our good friends that we've known for 20 years. That may not be our tribe. So we're going to be splitting off into different. There will be a 5D tribe and the 3D tribe, and it's going to happen naturally, you know, and you can see it happening very clearly.
And it's very exciting, you know, because I mean, I found myself with a group of people in the last few months who have a very similar view of the world to me, but a very different view to, you know, many other people. But that has been joyful, because I don't have to cut bits of myself off or think, oh gosh, I can't say that. You know, you can just be fully you in your uniqueness. And that's all great. So that was really building momentum and is very exciting. And we are going to, you know, manifest something magnificent from that, because the energy is so strong.
Yes,
And so
yes,
positive.
yes,
It's wonderful.
yes. And it's good because as the 5D tribe grows, then they're going to actually amplify,
Yeah, yeah,
sending out that energy to everyone
yeah,
on the planet. And in truth, Mother Gaia, who is a living being, like you were saying, her frequency is rising. As her frequency rises, everything on her frequency is rising.
yeah,
So even the 3D earth is going to be at a higher frequency than it was before.
yeah.
It's just, everything is going up, and it's a done deal already. That's what I keep trying to tell people. Don't sweat what's going on in the 3D. It's a done deal. The light has already transformed the dark. We're headed, you can hop on the 5D timeline at any second and just keep your vibration high and head in that direction.
And, and actually, as well, I mean, we can so clearly see what's happening to the Earth cosmologically, because, the Earth is moving through this area of space called the photon belt. We're getting massive waves of photonic energy coming in to a degree we haven't had for about 12,000 years. And that's partly because of the drop in the magnetic shield, which is like kind of cotton wool buffer, which has dropped significantly in recent years. And so what all that is doing is expanding the core of the Earth, which is creating a lot more earthquakes and volcanoes and instability in the Earth. And if you look at the Earth's heart, what I call the Earth's heartbeat, the Schumann resonance, it's much greater in strength and amplitude than it has been in the past. We're getting a lot more coronal mass ejections that are kind of being thrown out from the sun. And so that is making the energy pretty fritzy, people feel wired, it's often hard to sleep. But if we're living on this Earth and we're sandwiched between the Earth, which is upgrading, and all this photonic light coming in, there's no escape. We don't stand.
Exactly.
We have to upgrade, and then it comes down to how much light can you hold in your body individually, and that determine whether you can sort of sustain that level of frequency, because it's every cell in our body, as you know, Caroline, is being upgraded, and that's quite a big hit in a short time for our bodies to take. So hence the physical symptoms people are getting, but it's evidence of the upgrade. It's evidence of the upgrade. So it's very interesting that Earth is going through her rebirth too, because even the Earth is not going to be stable. So nothing, none of the systems I've mentioned are going to be stable. Governmental systems aren't going to be stable. The Earth isn't going to be stable. So you find your anchor inside yourself. There's nowhere else to go to find stability. We've got to turn inwards and develop our mastery of having an anchor inside us we can go to in seconds. Is it breath work? Is it meditation? Is it candle gazing? Is it hugging your baby? Is it hugging your puppy? Hugging a tree, all of the things I talk about. What is it in seconds that you can just feel warmth? I'm back to my anchor. For me, it's just sitting on the Earth like a 3-year-old child. I've got, if I've been too much in the head during the day because there's been so much going on, I've just got to sit on the Earth. And instantly, because of all the healing ions that come up from the Earth, you can just feel your energy decompress. And that's my anchor. So wherever I am, I'll just sit on the Earth, because that to me is my anchor. And I've got other anchors too, as many people have, meditation, etc. But that is so instant and so tangible and so physical.
Yes. And the other important point too is understanding that the chaos that is happening now in the 3D matrix has to happen. It has to, the 3D matrix has to collapse so we could build anew. So understanding that everything that is happening in perfect divine order and in perfect divine timing, even though, because you don't get the growth without the chaos. I mean, and that's kind of universal. Most people get a spiritual growth when something devastating happens in the family. We don't want it, but also if we detach ourselves and understand it's a play, it's a movie. It's a movie of my own creation. Nobody's punishing me. Nobody's doing anything to me. I am creating this reality that I'm experiencing. And on a soul level, I chose for that to happen. You know, on a soul level, I know, you know, my son is in spirit. He transitioned 7 years ago at 29 years old. And I know that was a soul agreement he and I made, you know, and, you know, to think from the limited human consciousness, like what mother would want that to happen, but it was a soul. I understood it, and I knew it when he transitioned. It was a soul agreement, and he's still very much with me. I have physical evidence he's still with me. So it's you know, it's the knowing who we truly are as sovereign divine beings of light, knowing that we're all one, that there is no separation. It's the knowing. And for me, I always say to people, it's not a belief, it's a knowing, like breathing. Like I know for this physical body to stay here, I have to breathe in oxygen, which the government's trying to make illegal. But anyway, I have to breathe in oxygen. It's a knowing. For me to be here, I have to breathe. And it's the knowing who I am and knowing why I'm here, which that's another reason that my vibration stays high, because I'm walking in my purpose of being. And we all, everyone on the planet, chose to be here at this moment.
Yeah,
Everyone.
and I think what you were saying is very interesting, because about, you know, it's got to be a total demolition. It's got to be a lot of chaos, because if it was only partial, there would be attempts to patch it up, to repair it, to rebuild it. And it's a done deal. And also, if I look at the astrological symbolism, you know, Pluto, the symbolism of Pluto is like a tree that dies in a wood and crashes down and rots down, and eventually fertile soil and little beetles and all sorts of creatures start to live in it because it becomes fertile soil. But it has to die completely first, not just half die or half come down. It has to totally die. This is linked to the myth of Persephone, you know, when was captured and taken down to Hades and crossed the Styx, STYX, and it was all very dark and scary, and then she comes back up to the light and is stronger and wiser. So it's a metaphorical death. It can be a literal death, but it's the death of the old world and the old systems, and it has to be for us to create something completely new.
Yes.
So that's the astrological symbolism that's very clear. And Eris is playing a magnificent role in this as well, in demolishing the old and accelerating all of that process. So yeah, so knowing that, the astrology helps massively, for me anyway, but it really helps to give it context, to say we are meant to be experiencing this, otherwise I couldn't see it this clearly.
Yes.
If we weren't meant to be experienced, I couldn't see it in the astrology, but it is crystal clear that, you know, we're taking this dive onto the demolition site, breaking down of the old, which is happening because of the light. The light is the game changer. Because the light is so high frequency now, you can see it, this white photonic light, that you can't have two very different levels of frequency existing in the same space for an extended period of time. Always the higher energy will win, because it's downward causation in physics. So that has to happen. And if you look at chaos theory in physics as well, when water starts to boil, for instance, you know, there's a kind of chaotic kind of bubbling of all the molecules before it changes state from water into steam.
I never even thought of that, but that's very true. Yes.
All the molecules kind of boiling and become very disorganized before it changes state. So this is what we're going through. So, you know, at that level, expect it. And then it isn't quite so scary, because you think, okay, you know, I'm not getting my rubbish collected, you know, I haven't had my mail delivered. But, you know, it's part of the breakdown. Just you get much less
go with the flow of it. Just go with the flow of it.
The bigger picture, you can see the bigger perspective, because if you can keep your focus on where we're headed, even if it's invisible, I just want to feel more joy, I just want to feel more love, I just want to feel more freedom. I want to be with loving, like-minded people. Just even if the circumstances are invisible, it doesn't matter. Just keep your eye on that vision. And you start to get, you know, these little synchronicities, you're meeting the right people, you know, you're in the right place, etc. So that's the solution. And I know it's hard if you're stuck much more at that sort of day-to-day watching the evening news. I know it's really hard.
Turn it off. Just unplug the TV, something.
Everybody just, because you just go down like a stone. So it's all of these things, each of which are simple to do, and if you just keep trucking on and following those, don't create division, don't argue with people, find joy in every day, find joy in every hour, find joy in every minute if you can do it.
Yes.
And then it starts to gather momentum, and that becomes your default frequency rather than anger and fear. As long as you're in anger and fear, we're not going to kind of get off the starting blocks, but the more you can just, it's kind of reprogram or rewire your default frequency to be a higher level.
Yes.
So
yes. And one of the things I do is kind of, if I'm feeling myself getting in my head and fretting or worrying or something, one of the things I do right away is bring myself to the now moment. I take maybe 3 deep breaths and bring myself to the now moment, and then ask myself, what's happening right in this now moment for me to be fearful of, or, what's in this now moment that I can be grateful for, so those are the things. But that now moment, one of my favorite books is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Wonderful.
But that now moment is so precious, because that's all there is, really is.
And that's the only place we have our power as well.
Yes.
If we're fretting about the past, as I said in the video yesterday, worrying about the future, we're leaking power. We're scattering ourselves. So we've got to stay in that present moment. And all through my day, these tiny things, when I wake up, I'm grateful for having arms and legs. I'm grateful I've got eyes to see. I'm grateful I've got warm water so I can have a shower. I'm grateful I've got, a delicious breakfast. I'm grateful I can see some trees. I'm grateful that we have blue sky, which is a fairly rare thing in the UK. I'm grateful the sun is shining, all through my day. And it may sound ridiculous and kind of cheesy to do that.
No, it's great. It's really perfect.
You're changing habits. You're changing habits rather than taking things for granted, which are so precious. You'd miss it if you had no water. You'd miss it if you had no food. You'd miss it if you had one leg and not the other. So it sounds, as I say, a bit cheesy and very simple, but that's truly what I do. I'm grateful I can see and hear the birds. I'm grateful, I can go for a walk in the woods. And so I keep on saying thank you, thank you, thank you through my day. And the way the universe works, as you well know, Caroline, is you get more of that. You get more of whatever you're grateful for, because the universe says, she likes it, let's give her more of that.
Let me give her more of it, exactly.
But equally, if you're stressing madly and in terror, you get more of that.
More of it, exactly. Because in every now moment, there is a blessing. I mean, we can focus on the small, simple blessings, which are really huge, like just enjoying the view from my window now of the trees, and just, it's been the hottest summer. I live in the Poconos, and usually this time of year, late August is really fall for us, because we're high in the mountains and we get 5 feet of snow and all that. But this summer I've been here 30 years. This has been the hottest summer. And I'm just, I'm thankful for the heat. Even we had a hurricane pass through a few days ago. I'm thankful for the rain. I'm thankful for everything and every now moment. Yes, that is. And it's not cheesy. I started keeping an appreciation grateful journal about 20 years ago. And every morning I write down even if it's just one thing. I'm thankful for my cup of coffee. I love my coffee in the morning. Just something I'm grateful for. But that does, when because you can't do both. You can't focus on something to be grateful for and something that you feel you lack in the same moment. You can't. You gotta choose.
And also you stop the resistance. You end up more in the flow of life, and you stop the resistance. So I think that's really important. And just joyful things tend to happen to you through the day. And I initially started doing this a few years ago as an experiment, and I mentioned this in my first book, Caroline, because I'd moved house, and it's been an annus horribilis, which I won't go into. All kinds of huge stuff had happened, people dying, and a lot of things had happened. And everybody I seemed to bring into the house as a workman in the new house I moved to, a
Mm-hmm.
very old house, but I was doing lots of renovation, was angry. I had angry people, my car broke down, there was an angry mechanic, the chap who came to fix the boiler in the house was angry. I'm sure he'd even been in prison for, punching everybody was angry. Everybody I ran into was angry and kind of frustrated. And I thought, this is coming from me. I've got to stop this because I'm putting out some kind of frustration or grief or anger, and I'm just getting it back with everybody I meet. So
Exactly.
I said, as an experiment, I am now going to be happy from this moment on and see what happens. And I got lovely workmen to help me out, who spent extra time or wouldn't charge me or whatever. And it was such an interesting experiment because I was on my eagle's perch, just watching this from a higher level, how I was feeling, how I was behaving, and what was being brought into life. So it was a really, really valuable lesson for me, actually, to do that.
I've actually, the last 18 months, I've kind of had that experiment, and I didn't kind of, I didn't say I was going to do it as an experiment, but like I said, with all these mandates that I knew were ridiculous, I wasn't going to, it's like, I'm not giving away my God-given power. So I'm the only one walking around my neighborhood, but I created a sign that said, for health reasons, and it's not a lie, for health reasons, I cannot wear a mask. My health reason is I want to stay healthy because I know wearing, it's true. Wearing a mask is unhealthy. So so I walk into the store with my badge of freedom on saying, for health reasons, I can't wear a mask. And everybody's like, oh, can I help you? They think I'm like disabled or something. And so I'm walking in with my high frequency, my badge of freedom. I'm short. I can't reach something off the top shelf in the store. And 20 people come over. Oh, can I help you? Can I help you? All I got back, I got no grief. In the last 18 months, now where I am, half the people are not wearing masks anyway. So it feels great. I don't have to wear my badge and don't have to wear a mask. But all of 2020 in the first half of our first quarter of 2021, I had to wear this badge, but surrounded myself with love and light. And all I got back from people were love and light. There were no arguments. There were no, oh, you're killing people, or I had done none of that. So yeah, I understand it.
Match again, it's all about a frequency match, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's so interesting. It's only when we wobble, I think, from that high point that we get something else coming in. And again, being the observer on your eagle's perch is so helpful because you think, where did I dip to bring that in?
Yes.
What is that showing me in my vibration? So you just become much more masterly, I think, in really controlling what you're emanating, because you're broadcasting it 24/7. And that's what other people pick up and the universe picks up as well. So yeah, this is going to be our mastery going forwards.
Yes. And there's nothing but a bright future ahead. So when all the craziness that's going on in the 3D realm, you can detach yourself from it, go within. I've been meditating much more than I go out in nature all the time. I love to put my bare feet on Mother Earth and soak up all that energy from Mother Gaia. This is yes. And yes, I really feel wonderful because I am now leaning, meeting, just they're coming to me, I'm meeting them, meeting people of like mind, the same frequency, of like frequency. I like that better, of like, because it's not about the mind, it's about the heart and soul. So I'm meeting people of like frequency and just, I'm in 5D and I'm staying there.
Wonderful.
Yes, and also the key, and I said this to you before we started recording, the key to 5D consciousness is unity consciousness. We can't enter 5D until we understand that we're all one, that in 5D, we're gonna know that, like breathing. So there will be no war, there will be no poverty, there will be none of these things that we deal with in the 3D realm, because 5D Earth is going to be like heaven on earth. And we're very close. People think, oh, that's thousands of years off. No, we're right at the door. We're there, and it will happen in our lifetime.
Yes, it absolutely will. I mean, traditionally, people have said, 2032 is the beginning of this golden age and this age of peace. I think we are going to get many, many signs and progressions towards it, even starting next year. Starting next year, more and more, I've often said green shoots through broken concrete. More and more, we will still have obviously the old, which is rumbling on and collapsing. Right. But the evidence of New Earth is going to get stronger and stronger as we go through the next decade. For sure. And so it is very exciting that we're on Earth at this time, for sure.
It is, and we chose to be here. And many of us are volunteers and say, oh, I gotta go down there and help Earth just at this time. We're living in amazing times, and when you are awake, you can see that. So if you're not quite awake yet, I think many millions of more people are going to be waking up within the next few months. I really do.
So do I. And the reason for that, Caroline, is because I think things will get tougher at the 3D level, but at a higher level of being, it is in order to wake more people up, because eventually, even people who faithfully followed the narrative are going to say, do you know what, this just doesn't make any sense at all. And that's where the awakening is going to happen. But the way it works is the pressure is going to have to increase in order to wake up.
Like the boiling water.
Yeah, the boiling water. Absolutely, the boiling water. So, and again, just know that's the purpose of it. And then we'll get through it, and gradually, for many, I mean, you're already there, and for many they are. But for many of us, we're just going to start to see more and more evidence of New Earth as we go. And we are creating, I think so often, we think that the future is a film set. It's already set, it's already built, we just step onto it. Particularly now, we are creating it from ether, from nothing.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so exciting. And that's why we've got to make sure it's full of all the beauty and oneness and love and unity that is going to serve us best, for sure.
Yes. Now I just thought of something I heard today, because we were talking about shutting off that TV, especially the news. I mean, I watch television, but not the news, and I don't watch mainstream news programs. But I heard something today in a video. The word television, what does that mean? It means tell a vision.
Yes.
So they're telling you their vision.
Yes.
Yes, you can turn off their vision and tell the world your vision.
Absolutely. And why is it called programming?
Yes, because it's
programs. I mean,
there's no in truth, Pam, there is no secrets. Everything has been out in the open forever.
It just never occurred to us before.
Yes.
Other people say about television that it's television.
Okay. Right, television, especially the last 18 months. Yes, very true. But everything, I realize that everything is truly in the open. It's just for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, to not allow themselves to be programmed and go, if you go within, because the answer is inside each of us. And all you have to do is quiet the mind, go within, and the answer will come. Yes.
And more, because we're becoming more psychic, we're becoming more empathetic, telepathy, healing, all of these sort of almost supernormal, what you consider superhuman abilities are going to come online more and more, because we're going to be lighter, we're going to be less particle and more wave, we're going to be lighter, we're going to eat less, we're going to eat just plant food, raw food, but less of it, and our whole being is going to lighten up, and that's going to open up a whole other realm of possibilities as well.
Yes, and in truth, our DNA is being changed naturally, not through any shots or anything, naturally, from carbon-based to
crystalline.
Yes. And I've been experiencing, I would say, ascension symptoms for at least the last 10 years. Nothing, just very mild. I just get, and they're not like going through the change or anything. I get these really hot, feeling really hot one minute and feeling extremely cold the next minute. And at first I did think it was the change, but I realize it's my ascension symptom. It's just it's regulating my body temperature has been difficult. Because it could be
saying that. A lot of people, sleeplessness, migraines, all kinds of aches and pains, tinnitus, ringing in the ears. A lot of people have had these kinds of symptoms. And of course, if you don't know what it is, it feels quite scary. What's happening? Am I sick? Do I need to see a doctor? Last thing you want to do. But
I agree. I have not seen a doctor since 1998. No one.
No, I just never see. So yes, it's recognizing that is evidence of our upgrades, and then you see it in such a different light, and that eases the physical symptoms in itself. Think, okay. Yes. Okay, I've now got a very positive reason for this. So bring it on, more of that.
Very, very true. But this has been wonderful. I don't want to keep you because I know how busy you are. Please, again, share with our listeners where they can find you. I'm definitely going to have links to your website and your YouTube channel because people have to check out your YouTube. But please share again where people can find you.
Yeah, it's principally Pam Gregory Astrology. And yes, the website is pamgregory.com. That's going through an upgrade right now. That's also going through an upgrade. It's a whole redesign because it's going to be receiving a lot more traffic. It's quite a long website. So it's going to be slow for the next 2 months. It's going to be quite difficult to read on a mobile if you're looking at lots of detail. Be patient. Can't do it any faster. It's down to the website, guys. So just be patient. And also, I post quite a lot on Facebook. I'm using MeWe a lot more as well. And I'm looking to find other good social media channels. People use Telegram a lot, but I'm exploring. But certainly, I put up a lot still. I have to say on Facebook, although I think that's gonna go too. Not my posts, but the platform's going to change as well.
Yes, I mainly because I found out I don't know why YouTube doesn't like me. They've taken down several of my videos, and they're not even okay. I do videos with doctors, and I understand YouTube doesn't want them on there. But even videos I've done with David Icke, a lot of your Englishmen, David Icke and Simon Parks, they took down, and there was nothing in those videos except like talking about higher consciousness. That's what we were talking about. But they like YouTube took them down. I'm like, are you kidding me? But yes, it's all good. It's all good. I got upset, but I had to like, okay, let it go. Raise your consciousness. Go back up in your vibration. It's all good because it's all happening for a reason, and it's all good because the light has already transformed the dark. And I'm going to stay in 5D.
Wonderful. You're an inspiration, Caroline.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Wonderful to see you. And thanks so much for the opportunity.
And thank you. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Okay. And hopefully I'll get to the UK one of these days and I can actually meet you.
Yeah, wow.
A lot of my heroes are in the UK. So I got
Wonderful. Wonderful to share with you. You take good care.
You too. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.